The major national dialogue in Cameroon is 1 year gone, and the country continues to count the blessings thereof. Peace returns progressively as ex-fighters today enjoy a better life. The 2020-2021 cocoa season has been launched in Cameroon with hopes of greater yields should stakeholders at all levels adopt best practices outlined. And the Customs Department puts in place new procedures to facilitate the clearance of vehicles at land borders, fight against corruption and boost state treasury. Live from Studio 5 of the CRTV Production Center in Yaoundé, I am Benin Bumagana. Welcome to the 7:30 News.
Each of us must comply with the measures that have been taken.
Once again, welcome. 1 year after the convening and holding of the major national dialogue, an ex-secessionist armed general, Capture and Destroy, says the major national dialogue has contributed enormously in appeasing the socio-political crisis in the northwest and southwest regions. Ebenezer Akanga brings us highlights of an interview with Capture and Destroy this day in CRTV.
It is 1 year since David, former separatist general, Capture and Destroy, laid down his arms following the appeal of the head of state. Today, the former separatist general is at peace with himself and living a normal life again.
I'm walking free. I do my things the way I want to do it. Nobody is troubling me because I work within the law.
The former separatist general recognizes that there has been much positive change since the holding of the major national dialogue and makes a strong case for the resumption of all schools in the northwest and southwest regions for the 2020-2021 academic year.
The separatist activists outside, they are going to school. They are arming themselves with a weapon that is more stronger than that you are gone, which is education. And you are here claiming that you are doing this, you are doing that, schools should not go. If schools are not going, we on the ground are going to be the ones to suffer.
1 year after the head of state convened the major national dialogue, the former separatist general again appeals to fighters to come out of the bushes and lay down their arms.
Drop your weapon and be free, because the weapon is like a chain to you.
Life is too short to be wasted.
As we're talking about the major national dialogue 1 year after, inhabitants of Bafoussam in the West region are still reminiscing about the impact it had on their regard for national growth and integration. Kelvin Nembo spoke to most of them and prepared the following report for the 7:30 News.
September 30th to October 4, 2019, one of the most important dates in Cameroon's historical records. Many Bafoussam city dwellers say they will never ever forget, for the major national dialogue, today a year old, was organized.
We also see how the government is trying to reconstruct the northwest and the southwest. And we can also talk about the special status given to the northwest and the southwest region.
What marked the attention of many on the last day of what they have termed a history-making event was when the final resolutions were read out to the satisfaction of a majority of participants. And the wish of all Cameroonians in the western region is that these efforts will pave the way for peace to reign in Cameroon.
In a related story, the Observatory for Societal Development, ODS, a non-governmental organization, has strongly condemned the barbaric killings perpetrated by armed men in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Victor Siga attended a press briefing of the NGO's coordinator, Kulu Ngulu Lilian Maurice. This is his report.
Press briefing focused on the socio-political crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Political leaders and anthropologists on the panel advanced possible strategies to overcome the crisis, like the sensitization of youth.
Such an event is to enlighten, to clarify by giving scientific reason that build their action.
The objective is to join the government to finding lasting solutions to the various issues which have been points of concern in both regions.
The 2020-2021 cocoa season has been launched with a call for all those in the sector to adopt practices that will ensure resilience in the wake of global trade pressures caused by COVID-19. At the launch, Trade Minister Luc Magloire-Mbarga-Tangana maintained that the cocoa sector remains profitable, though production, processing and commercialization targets are yet to be attained. Clarissa Retakan reports.
The production of premium cocoa beans and better post-harvest and commercialization techniques, all in a bid to guarantee decent pay for growers. These are the objectives the 2020-2021 cocoa season will be striving to attain. Focus for all those with an essential role to play in keeping the sector profitable will be on resilience.
Last season, the average price was about 1,000 francs per kilo. We are gathering the efforts of industry, of the government, to be able to maintain that level of price.
The cocoa ambition of the state is to get to 600,000 tons produced locally. Partnerships have been encouraged in order to make this possible, as producers hope to see their concerns addressed.
The government should support them in the aspect of inputs. Second, in the aspect of quality seedlings. Thirdly, with quality ovens. And then the central to the excellence that gives quality cocoa should be spread all over the territory.
Cocoa remains one of Cameroon's prized cash crops with huge export gain. Keeping the industry sustainable therefore calls for renewed multidimensional investment in order to feed a market whose yearly global growth is estimated at 300,000 tons.
The Cameroon Customs has put in place a new clearance procedure for vehicles imported by land in the borders of the country. The move is expected to further secure public treasury revenue and optimize the collection of budgetary resources. Ewanepole reflects on the new dispensation, its effects on the users and the advantages for the public treasury.
The new customs clearance procedure for vehicles and other rolling materials imported by land in Cameroon is enacted in a context of budgetary resilience marked by the need to optimize collection of budgetary resources, the overhauling of customs surveillance, and to check the fraudulent import. The procedure also aims at facilitating movement within the CEMAC zone.
Ordinary importers of vehicles are going to realize that life has been made particularly easy for them. Unscrupulous middlemen will no longer be holding them to ransom. It's going to be cheaper as they've been harmonized all over the national territory. Once this procedure comes into play and everything is done above board, we will realize that the time for clearing vehicles along land borders has significantly been reduced.
The new procedure is expected to further secure the interests of the public treasury.
It's going to improve collection of revenue for budgetary purposes. It is also going to improve planification.
These will reinforce collaboration between the Customs Administration and the Ministry of Transport in the against fraudulent registration of vehicles.
About 3,000 new jobs will be created for young Cameroonians in the Hevea rubber plantation in the South region within the next 4 years. The information was disclosed Wednesday during a walking visit of the Minister of Employment and Vocational Training, Issa Chiruma Bakari, to the agro-industrial firm in Mayamasala, the Jar and Lobo Division. Clarence Aze reports.
For its 9 years of existence, the Sud Cameroon Hevea rubber plantation, which spreads across 10,000 hectares of land, has already created over 1,000 direct jobs to Cameroonians. Its industrial zone for on-the-spot transformation of rubber will go operational by the end of the year.
At least 500 Cameroonians are going to be recruited. And in the 4 years ahead, a total of 3,000 Cameroonians will be recruited. I'm very much pleased.
While touring the different social amenities within the plantation, like schools and health centers, the workers pleaded that more teachers be sent to the 15 primary schools within the firm and the need for the creation of a bilingual secondary school.
We have to brace ourselves to take the bull by their horns in order to help them address the problem.
At the end of his tour, the minister planted a tree with the hope that the fruits will be more jobs.
It is a similar story in Buea, where youths in the southwest region have been imbibed with knowledge and skills to be apt for the job market and to create wealth. Tanjong Levis Agbo reports on the conference on wealth creation in Buea.
One of the challenges faced by youths in the southwest region is unemployment, and for these to be steadily eradicated, it requires changing the mindsets of youths from being at the receiving end and focus on being innovative and assertive.
Unemployment and poverty breeds instability in every system, and the current problems we are facing in Cameroon is as a result of youth unemployment. So we decided to organize this job creation conference, since actually the government cannot absorb everybody.
In an ever-changing global economy, the head of the social, economic and cultural sector at the Southwest Governor's Office, Teofin Dumbe, emphasized that youths need to be inspired, equipped and be engaged in activities that will give them abilities to be creative.
I came here today practically inspired to empower the youths through what I'm doing.
The youths are upbeat that this will facilitate and build skills that will last a lifetime.
Results of the 2020 Baccalaureate General Examination have been released today by the board. Candidates can listen to the national radio this evening or send a message to the number 8070-8070 for their results. For more on these results, here is Romeo Kenye.
Joy of success for candidates who have made it at this year's Baccalaureate General. On a notice board here at Government High School Efulan, many have come to verify their names. Under a tree, the unsuccessful whip. The results were made available Friday afternoon by the Baccalaureate General Board. Aside verifying results in their various institutions or listening to it being read via the national radio, this year many can consult their result through the number 8070 at the cost of 150 francs through any telecommunication network.
8017 give a possibility to all candidates to get the result anywhere they define themselves with the country.
Going by officials of the Baccalaureate Board, the results released are final, but there are still possibilities for uncontented candidates to file complaints within the next 2 weeks.
This time, staff of CRTV's Department of New Media are upgrading their skills in digital communication at a 2-day training workshop in the African Institute of Computer Sciences, IAI. The training is at the outcome of a partnership between IAI and CRTV to help the state media reach a wider online public. Beatrice Losamba reports.
The CRTV media giant is out to conquer a wider audience, and the widely used social media seems to be the most evident way to go.
We are here to discuss with all our stakeholders to know if we are in the real way.
Initiating the staff of the corporation's Department of New Media into digital marketing, a priority now for CRTV's partner, the African Institute of Computer Sciences.
Is very important for the modernization of our television.
2 days set aside to get a grasp of how the digital world works and learn to take advantage of greater opportunities it offers to sell the state media's content. The first in a series of training the media house is entitled to, thanks to this renewed partnership.
Let's go to the Northwest region. Officials at the Bamenda Regional Hospital are distressed by the acute shortage of blood in the blood bank of the hospital. The officials attribute the shortage to the socio-political crisis in the region and the COVID-19 pandemic apparently scaring many away. Mabel Mekemdi Sakem completes that story from Bamenda.
Here at the Bamenda Regional Hospital, some patients battle to stay alive as their bodies run dry of blood. There is shortage at the blood bank. Loom, a patient on dialysis, looks up to healthy donors for help.
We are pleading with the population that is necessary to help us donate blood, because if the blood is not there, when you give blood, you save life.
The head of the blood transfusion unit at the hospital says before the socio-political crisis and the coronavirus, over 4,000 units of blood were collected yearly, but the number has dropped by more than half this year, leaving the over 700 unit capacity blood bank almost empty.
So last week we have received over 70 requests for blood units, but we've been able to transfuse just 31 units of blood.
Officials at the Bamenda Regional Hospital say blood donors here enjoy 50% discount on laboratory tests and free consultation.
Medical and paramedical staff in the Far North region have been trained on hospital hygiene and how to prevent infection and contamination in the handling of COVID-19 cases. The workshop ended today in Marwa, as we hear in this report by Ayuk John Ashu.
In the practice of their profession, medical personnel are exposed to the risk of contamination and infection due to the objects and persons they come in contact with. To better harness the notion of hygiene and self-protection, medical and paramedical staff of the Marwa Regional Hospital underwent a refresher course.
This training will help not only the staff, the health staff, also the users of our health facilities, because in the hospital, microorganisms can circulate from patients to health workers, from health workers to patients. So we have to put in place a system where everybody is secured.
From environmental hygiene through waste management to personal protection, the health personnel were refreshed by experts. Proper waste disposal, systematic washing and sterilization of beddings and clothing are a routine at the Marwa Regional Hospital.
The wearing of face masks in public places will be mandatory until further notice.
Of course, let's talk about the fight against COVID-19. Health professionals at the Douala International Airport have put in place strict measures to halt the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic through the airports. Live from the Public Health Emergency Center, CRTV's Baldwin Tama engages his guest, Dr. Yusufa Buba Umaru, head of the health unit of the National Airport, in a live video chat on these anti-COVID measures. Baldwin?
Well, good evening, Benin Bumagana. We all know that the airports are still officially closed, but some measures have been put in place in the different airports to wait for the official reopening of the different airports. We take you to the Douala International Airport to meet our guest tonight, Dr. Buba Yusufa Umaru, who is the head of the health unit at the Douala International Airport, to get to know what measures have been put in place at that level. Doctor, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Tell us, the airports are still closed, and how are you preparing at the level of the Douala International Airport for the reopening of the airports?
Well, borders reopening preparation in the Douala International Airport is made by all the sectors, the Aeronautical Authority, the ADC, and of course the health sector. Concerning the health sector, the device is set to facilitate the landing and the boarding of all the passengers in the full respect of barrier measures prescribed by the government.
Tell us, Doctor, we know that there are some special flights that are coming into the country, and what measures have you put in place to, as far as the passengers who are coming into the country, to avoid any further contamination or spread of the virus?
For those special flights, there is an indicated travel path. For each passenger who arrives in Douala International Airport, we take temperature with the thermoflash. We realize disinfection of hands and luggage. Then we control the COVID-19 test, because any passenger who arrives in the Douala International Airport may present a COVID-19 PCR negative test. If the test is more than 3 days, the passenger will be retested with a quick diagnostic test before to continue the other formalities. And if the test is positive, the passenger is immediately led to the COVID-19 management center in Yassa. And all the other passengers of the flight will be followed for at least 14 days.
Thank you so much, Dr. Buba Yusufa Maru. You are the head of the health unit at the Douala International Airport, Benin Bumagana. Those are the measures put in place to ensure that everything is okay before the reopening of the different airports, especially that in Douala. We continue our tour of the different regions this Saturday as we take you over to the west region of Cameroon. Back to you, Benin Bumagana.
Thank you very much, Baldwin Sama von Kemen. The first vice president of the Cameroon Democratic Union Party has resigned from the party, citing lack of dialogue and the disrespect for the party's statutes by some militants. Sam Cyril Baka, who served the party for 30 years, announced his resignation during a press conference in Douala. René Kaché tells us more.
The announcement was formal and the decision was firm. In a 7-minute declaration, Sam Cyril Baka announced he was resigning from the Cameroon Democratic Union CDU after 30 years of militating under the party. In his declaration, Mr. Baka was clear. The interest of the party must be put first and its statutes must reign supreme. The erstwhile first vice president of the CDU indicated that he will never disrespect the memory of his mentor and CDU founding president, late Adamu Damjoya. Sam Cyril Baka said consultations with other disgruntled party militants are underway to harmonize and form a different political party with a national interest.
On our weekend cultural page today, Save the Last Dance with Makusa superstar Toto Guillaume at the Sansa nightclub in Yaoundé. Tomorrow, Saturday, Mr. Leo will be live on Facebook to entertain fans as from 7 p.m. For these and more on our weekend cultural rendezvous, here is Joyce Tata.
This weekend vibrates to Cameroon's rhythms as Genies Dubikutsi will be entertaining his audience at the Homme d'Honneur Cultural Complex as from 8 p.m. Urban music artist Mr. Leo gets closer to his fans this Saturday through a live program on Facebook on the Visa Culture blog. It will be moderated by Kevin Talk as from 7 p.m. In cinema over in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, make it a date for the movie premiere of The Entitled at Bercy Aqua.
You all right back there? It's bumpy. This? This is nothing.
United Cinema in Bankomo Central region of Cameroon will play the movie Bigfoot Family on 3D as from 1 p.m. Make the most out of your weekend.
The world remembers this day 19 years ago when a series of 4 coordinated terrorist attacks by the Islamic terrorist group Al-Qaeda against the United States. About 3,000 people were killed and more than 6,000 others injured in what has been known as the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Almost 2 decades on, what does the post-9/11 generation remember of the attacks?
8:45 a.m. Tuesday, September 11, 2001, an American airline Boeing 767 loaded with gallons of jet fuel crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. 18 minutes after the first plane hit, a second Boeing 767 United Airlines Flight 175 appeared out of the sky, turning sharply towards the World Trade Center and sliced into the South Tower near the 60th floor. It immediately became clear that America was under attack. Less than 15 minutes after the terrorists struck the nerve center of the U.S. military, the horror in New York took a catastrophic turn when the South Tower of the World Trade Center collapsed in a massive cloud of dust and smoke. A total of 2,996 people were killed in the 9/11 attacks. 19 years on, close to 2 decades, the sad memories are far from over.
Thank you very much, Larry Efande. On to sports now. The National Olympic and Sports Committee is expected to beam with a new Olympic spirit as newly appointed officials take office. The president of the National Olympic and Sports Committee, Hamad Kalkaba Malboum, charged them to be true ambassadors of the Olympic spirit. Baldwin Sama reports.
They are all from different walks of life, having a common goal, that of promoting Olympic values by demonstrating moral and human qualities in their different posts of responsibility.
I'm in charge of making sure that the national sporting events unfold well and that there is sanity in the Olympic body at my level.
While commissioning those recently appointed at the Olympic Committee, Hamad Kalkaba Malboum, president of the National Olympic and Sports Committee, called on them to be assiduous, honest, and showcase friendship, respect, and excellence as they exercise their duties.
It is important to make this structure working efficiently with people who are prepared for the job and people who can work professionally to deliver.
The appointment announces a new era in the National Olympic and Sports Committee.
To the end of this edition of the 7:30 News. The next edition of the newscast is at 8:30 with Atta Badinoma. I'll be back here tomorrow at 7:30 for what is making news in Cameroon and out of the country. Good night.
In this connection, we should avoid stigmatizing